The ocean is a vital lifeline for the planet. It provides us with food, jobs, and recreation. It connects us to the world's markets and peoples, and is a source of medicines and clean energy. Putting a sustainable blue economy at the heart of ocean management is essential for our ocean, our people, and our prosperity.
All right, well, we're heading into the second to the last panel of the day. We've heard from some fantastic speakers today on the climate-ocean nexus, about sustainable fisheries, and about challenges and opportunities that we in the Pacific communities face.
Thank you very much, Minister Corella Bissell. And our last panelist is Dr. Sakaguchi of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you very much to introduce me. It's my great honor to be here representing Sasakawa Peace Foundation within the group of Nippon Foundation, as was introduced at the beginning of this afternoon. Actually, we, Sasakawa Peace Foundation, together with Nippon Foundation, have supported the PLAO here, not only for this our ocean conference, but supporting the Coastal Guard fleet vessels and also the training of the Coastal Guard people. Okay, let me say the blue economy as a game changer, particularly for small island and developing states. And the question is always, who have the ownership of the ocean and the marine resources? It's an easy question, but it's a tough question to answer. And the key word in our views are core benefits and synergies, as well as trade-offs. And let me explain the sustainable fisheries. The question is how we can maximize the revenue from the income to keep up the sustainability. And there is one good example in Suruga Bay, Japan. What they are doing is provide the information, what kind of species and how many fish are in a fixed net before landing. And then consumer, including fish market and also seafood restaurant and also each individual consumer, take a look at the information from the fisheries and then registered which species and how many fish they want. And then eventually fishermen landing on the data of the consumer to minimize the waste and also minimize the cost for transportation and minimize the cost for opening the market. So that is a good example to realize sustainability in a fisheries. And let me move on the sustainable in the tourism. Tourists obviously drop some amount of money when they are making the tour, but at the same time, they also leave waste and also carbon dioxide, by their activities. And then, what is an important achieve sustainable tourism? My answer is nature preservation and local people empowerment from the viewpoint of long term is the most important issues. With the empowerment of local people, the community can be resilient in the short-term impact, such as pandemic or the short-term fluctuation of the tourist flows. And coastal marine offshore renewable energies is another potential, as have been discussed this morning and this afternoon, is a potential for blue economies. We must continue to support investment in technology and innovation. For this purpose, we need to do the assesses for the potential energy harvesting based on topological and also physical condition of the coastal and ocean. At the same time, we also need to cross-sectoral and multi-stakeholder collaboration among renewable energy promotion, sustainable fisheries, aquaculture, and tourism to multiply environmental and socioeconomic benefits. The co-benefit I mentioned at the beginning, co-benefit promotion and trade-off optimization are particularly important for offshore wind power energy development, not to hamper fisheries, but to instead generate co-benefit. That's the point of renewable energy. Sustainable aquaculture also provides potentials. Science and technology within community-based resources management for aquaculture are quite important, and it will be resilient to climate such as seawater temperature rise. And so far, there are a wide range of enable policy and institutional factors required to promote sustainable blue economies. To better utilize natural capital and promote sustainable blue economies, we must ensure enabling policies, finance, technologies, science, traditional knowledge, human resources, and stakeholder empowerment and partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sakaguchi, and thank you to all of our panelists for the thoughtful insights. Now we would like to move to a short Q&A for everyone. Ambassador Jansen, I understand that the Norwegian government emphasizes and has considerable experience in integrated ocean management. Can you share with us why you see sustainable ocean planning as a key tool to achieve a sustainable ocean economy?
Sure, yeah. So the maritime area of Norway is 6 times the size of our land area. So the ocean is really fundamental to our livelihoods and our future. And in managing this resource, the integrated ocean management plans have been really crucial. We started this maybe 20 years ago. It's really about balancing various interests, in our case mainly fisheries and oil and gas, and also concerns about pollution. Now, the sustainable ocean planning, which is high on the agenda of the high-level panel at the moment, is really putting sustainability at the center of this process in all its aspects, both society, economy, and environment, and to create an inclusive process at the same time. Now, this is a very important topic, and you can learn more about it tomorrow morning at the side event at the Palau Community Center.
Indeed. Thank you, Ambassador Jansen. Now let us focus on some key blue economy sectors. Ambassador O'Flaherty, how can we make sure that shipping is part of the sustainable blue economy?
Well, I'd say shipping is a complex sector, it's an interconnected sector, and it's inherently a global sector. And while we're starting to see the solutions to decarbonize the sector coming forward, we need to do a lot of work to scale those up, to match the scale of the climate crisis, and also to make sure that they're at a cost that's sustainable for industry. So I think that's a really big challenge. I'd say that the work of the International Maritime Organization based in London is obviously key. We need global solutions to tackle what is inherently a global problem. As I mentioned, we need to ensure that we're raising the ambition of our targets for full removal of greenhouse gas emissions by 2050, but we also need to be setting quite ambitious medium-term targets as well. And I think in that regard, I'd also like to commend our US and Danish colleagues for the initiative at Glasgow around the zero-emission shipping by 2050 declaration. I'd encourage all governments here today, if you haven't already done so, to join us in signing that declaration. And I think this kind of plurinational initiative has a really important role to play alongside the IMO. So the Clydebank Declaration, the declaration I've just mentioned on zero-emission shipping, but also initiatives such as the COZEV initiative from the cargo shipping sector are all really important. And I think I'd be encouraging every government represented here today to look at signing up to those, but also calling on our business and non-state actor colleagues to be supporting action in that area as well.
Thank you very much, Ambassador O'Flaherty. Now turning on to Mr. La Camera. Ocean and offshore renewable energy technologies are some of the promising renewable energies for small island developing states, or SIDS, who can utilize the vast ocean. What are the strengths and weaknesses of SIDS in this field?
One of the weaknesses, we start with the bad news, no? is perhaps some timing for some of the island, the sites of the island itself. So the fact that in principle may be enough markets for selling the energy produced. Yeah. This could be a weakness. But from the other side, the benefit and advantage are enormous. I think this is an ideal place for having an offshore and tidal technologies be put in place. What is important is that to understand that for feeding the energy system of the SIDS is not necessary a big amount of money. Our estimates say that is not that a barrier for that. What is important is the international cooperation will focus exactly on what is needed to be done. On this, I have always to talk about our initiative, the Lighthouse Initiative, and also take the opportunity to thanks through the Ambassador of Norway for their continued support on this initiative. So we have to find a way. One they have suggested today is bring ideas for projects in the context of the NDCs that we have prepared together. We have supported 72 countries on preparing the NDCs. So we have assessed 44 renewable assessments, including the islands. So try to take profit of this instrument, trying to work together. I think we cannot say something that will be valid for everyone. The only thing that is valid that we have to work hard and do our job. So this is important that we find solution in the context of what are our capacities and tasks.
Thank you very much, Mr. La Camera. Minister Corrala-Besao, what does sustainability mean to you and to the unique nature of the tourism industry? Thank you.
Thank you. Sustainability is how we can develop policies and initiatives for growing economy without sacrificing future generations to enjoy the same resources and environment that we have today. For us, the means preserving the health of our oceans and the stability of our climate. For our part, our entire development agenda is built around the principle of sustainability. We've mapped out a decarbonization plan through our national policies, such as the Green Growth Framework, National Development Plan, and the Low Emissions Development Strategy, and the nationally determined commitments. But because we know we need the entire world to share our commitment, our Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama has been a champion for small island developing states in the international arena and a fierce fighter for action to halt the damage to the environment, especially the oceans, and cut carbon emissions. So in a word, sustainability for Fiji means solidarity from the rest of the world. We know that we must do and what we must do, and we hope our example can inspire others to follow suit. Fiji depends on the ocean for transport. It is our link to international and domestic markets, a source of livelihood and food, and a major tourism attraction. And that is where our efforts are most focused. Partnership are key for us, and it's the reason we are here. To accelerate our recovery and ensure we are in a state of readiness for future shocks, as we require the right resources, the right expertise, and the right partnership that harness multilateral instruments. Fiji, with its fellow Pacific Islands in 2019, pledged to decarbonize the domestic shipping fleet by 2050 as part of our net zero commitments. At the multilateral level, we are pushing for commitment on disciplining fisheries subsidies. The World Trade Organization has not been able to get convergence on the discipline for nearly 2 decades. This is because the biggest subsidizers are trying to dilute the disciplines into irrelevance. But these disciplines are critical for our region, which maintains the healthiest stock of marine life. And also, Fiji's position is that as part of our commitment to sustainably manage the ocean, deep sea mining should be banned in this decade in favor of exploration. Mm-hmm. We require continued technical support in capacity building and knowledge sharing. We need development partners to work with us in stimulating investment opportunities to drive COVID-19 recovery and resilience across the tourism value chain, and a focus on refinancing, greening, and blueing the industry. In order for Fiji to transition to a climate-resilient economy, we need to mobilize resources and expertise. We need to address barriers such as climate change awareness, knowledge, technology adaptation. Transformative change will only be realized through accelerated, scalable, and finance initiatives. And we can do this with our coalitions and partnerships.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Carla-Besao. Now, Dr. Sakaguchi, what would be your suggested strategy for capacity development for creating sustainable blue economies, particularly for Pacific Island countries?
Well, from my understanding, to realize sustainable ocean and also to have our future Earth is our generation responsibility. But we have many targets at the milestone of 2025 or 2030 or 2050, right?
Yeah.
We discussed before. And then the most important thing is to train and also involve young generation. Otherwise, I cannot live maybe at 2050, I'm not sure. But then it's important to have young generation to be involved in ocean issues. And that's why we, Saskia Peace Foundation, invited and support youth generation, 17 youth at this conference. But in addition, with the great initiation of Norway, they have Statoil Lemco worldwide expedition with tall ship, and we're going to support Palawan young generation, youth generation, together with some other island countries' youth generation on board together from the expedition from Koror to Yokohama. Certain numbers we, Saskia Peace Foundation, will support. So my answer is younger generation, youth generation, they are our precious stone, and we have to polish, and then they can shine. In that time, we set some targets. That's my answer.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sakaguchi. And thank you to all of our distinguished panelists for the rich and inspiring discussion today. You have given us both real-world examples of how to invest in the sustainable blue economy and the hope that together we can steer the ship towards ocean health and resilience. And now to close today, I would like to end with a quote by His Excellency Sir Rangel Whipps Jr. He said, "We are racing against time to save our ocean. To remain ahead in this race, we must be like the Kabekel, Palau's fastest war canoe, that depended on each crew member to fulfill their duties. Similarly, we must each take responsibility and work in unison to protect our ocean, our people, and our prosperity. Our survival depends on swift and collective action." Now, let us take those words to heart.